Good, beautiful morning, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday edition of Shortcuts for Your Soul. My name is William Michael Forbes. I'm a spiritual medium, a channel, and an intuitive life coach. And today I have with me the energy of a group called The Ascended, who I channel with some regularity, who want to discuss the idea that there's a benefit to suffering and long-term ignorance. And they title it actually, After you've fallen asleep, you will awaken. That's the way they title it. After you've fallen asleep, you will awaken. If you go to bed at night, you're going to wake up the next morning, mostly. There's other stories to that, but for the sake of today's communication, they wanted me to title it in that fashion. That a lot of people on the planet have fallen asleep. They've gotten lost in the body. They've gotten lost in the senselessness of the senses, and it's very important to awaken from that now, and people are beginning to awaken from that now. Before I get too far into this, I want to remind my patrons you will have received your patrons notice that we'll be going live on the 7th of November this week at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the discussion and meditation event for this month's first Patreon only live event is going to be entitled The Exquisite Restoration of Love, and I will be bringing through the energy of Master Jesus and Master Yogananda, who are very, very close in spirit, in more ways than one, as those who follow either Jesus or Yogananda understand what it is to be at one with God. So the exquisite restoration of love, and I didn't get the full meaning of that until today, when I understand what happened and what's changed on the world political scene, and it was quite remarkable. So I understand what they mean by that, and in the context of what the Ascended are saying today about the idea that it's really important you understand that there's a benefit to suffering and long-term ignorance, in that when you do enough stupid shit, you're going to have experiences that cause you pain, and that pain is going to force you to either make changes or continue deepening your suffering. And they said to me that humanity has propagated such a state for itself right now. Humanity has brought itself to a state of madness and insanity, daring to actually go against the natural, spontaneous dictates of life itself. The very essence and function of life is very precise and in integrity with itself, and only humanity, from the ignorance of its own mind, could contradict the natural process of life and consciousness, as many individuals will find themselves eating toxic substances and drinking toxic substances and doing things that are not productive or beneficent for their bodies or their minds. And this has become a very serious problem in your world right now, that so many of you are bound into this sleep of ignorance and experiencing the pangs of suffering that such ignorance has brought forth. War, poverty, destitution, these are effects of ignorance. Now, we also want to say that humanity is not the only influential consciousness on this planet. Much in the same fashion that humanity, through its ignorance, has been detrimentally effective upon life upon this planet, which it lives on itself. Likewise, there are species that are somewhat more intelligent than humans that are likewise asserting a similar ignorant application of their consciousness upon humanity. And this will now be drawn to a conclusion, that the perpetuation of ignorance is not possible where life is flourishing. Where life is flourishing, ignorance is not possible. Now, you have such simple examples we can give you, those of you that indulge in such things as alcohol and drugs and things that do not support nor sustain your physical or mental well-being know full well the side effects of these things, what you call a hangover after a night of overindulging. You have the consequence of suffering that is designed by nature to bring about a reevaluation process that many of you actually ignore. You wake up in pain or suffering, and you're not waking up in pain or suffering because you want to suffer. You're waking up in pain and suffering because you are ignoring fundamental rules that apply to your well-being physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. This is not a very complex consideration. It is very simple. Those of you that find yourselves in bodies that are suffering, great lunking weights difficult to carry around, you in and of yourself are not flawed, but your application of your knowledge is, and your understanding of your physical organism is poor at best. Even more disturbing is the fact that your psychological considerations are not properly evaluated. Many of you do not even care to weigh or measure what you would think in your mind and the effect that what you would think about could have upon you and your actions and your physiology and your environment. While the genesis of action is emotion, the genesis of emotion is thought. The genesis of emotion is thought. And so, if you do not choose to carefully examine and evaluate your thinking mind, then you will generate emotional conditions that will certainly produce states of existence that might not be so pleasurable to you. In fact, any state of existence that is not too pleasurable to you is the result of such gross thinking that would produce such suffering. But you did not come here to suffer. You came here to learn to create. Suffering is simply a process that allows you to reevaluate your own circumstance and condition of thought, emotion, and action. And that without such examination, improvement is not possible. If you do not choose to evaluate and examine your thought, then you will bear the consequences of the functional emotions that are stimulated into existence from those thoughts. And those emotions, you will bear the consequences of how they function in your material world as what you do and experience. The movement of thought is the genesis of emotion, as we've already said. And many of you think without any regard to the nature and quality as to what you are thinking, what you allow to go on in your mind, or what you receive in your mind from others. And if you do not begin to use this evaluative process, you will continue to suffer. As flawed thoughts, that is, thoughts which are destructive and non-beneficial to your mind or your body or your actions, will simply get worse in their degree and intensity until you find a way to ameliorate such thinking by not doing it anymore. Now, the idea has been proposed in human collective unconsciousness for several hundred years now that emotion is some mysterious and unknowable force that you have no control over. And let us clarify, emotion is not a mysterious or uncontrollable force within you. Emotion is a substance of creation that you stimulate into existence through the application of thought, reason, and imagination. You stimulate emotion into action and existence. Like stirring a pot of boiling water, the action of stirring moves the substance around in a very specific and precise direction, while your thought is like the spoon moving the substance of emotion and the belief and the ideologies that say you cannot control or change your thought are equally detrimental to you. To assume that you have no authority over your own thoughts is a gross misunderstanding of your own divine capability of creation, that each and every single living soul on this planet is able to functionally create conditions and is doing so now. Even in your most disparate or most blissful times, you are the agent of creation involved, all of you. And you're not doing this independent of one another. You are interdependent with each other in this function of creation. And in these last 130 years of your earth time, many of you have fallen asleep. You have deferred the process of thinking your own thoughts to what others tell you to think or to say or to do, rather than reflecting upon your own thoughts and evaluating the qualitative meaning of them and how they would bring into existence certain qualities of emotion. To look in a mirror at yourself and say, oh, I don't like that face, that produces a thought of a very qualitative emotion that affects you. When you look in a mirror and say, I'm beginning to really love what I see in the mirror, creates another qualitative movement of emotional energy that will affect you. And you are now at this time of great awakening. The energies are coming into this dimension to give humanity another opportunity to individually and collectively assert its creative consciousness to the benefit of all. But that benefit to all must begin with your own understanding of your creative process, which is universal to the collective. That is, what you think is the genesis of emotion. What thoughts go on in your mind are the genesis of emotion. What thoughts you receive will be the genesis of emotion. That is what we would say to you now, or what you would hear someone say to you, or what you would watch on a TV screen, or a movie theater, or read from a book, or hear from a friend. These thoughts also can be the genesis of emotional qualities. And so the process of being able to evaluate deliberately and intentionally whether a thought has a value that you wish to embrace in your life. For every thought has a value of function in your life. Every thought has a value of function in your life because it stimulates emotion into existence from a dormant state. And so you're in this position now on the process of awakening from the madness of suffering, of contorting and distorting life, to believe that which is true is false and that which is false is true, to believe that man is woman and woman is man. These confusions are the source and genesis of all suffering. Deceptiveness and untruth is the genesis of all suffering. And yet each and every individual combined asserts together a collective energy that is influencing the direction not only of your species, but indeed of this planet to a small extent. You are here to learn the function of creation, to apply yourself as a spiritual entity in the utilization of thoughts, in the process of understanding the function of creation as your Creator did so also. He understood that certain ideas and information would stir into existence different manifestations of what you call physical life. You can look out upon the trees and the planets and see a highly organized system of movement, which is an effect of a consciousness that is deliberate in its intention to think and evaluate. to weigh and measure in very precise and specific ways. Much the same way as you can have an individual that could build such a thing as a rocket ship that could go into the space around your Earth. Or a scientist that can divine a device that allows you to communicate over great spaces, though you're not present with each other. There is a thought process that stirs into function certain emotional qualities that produces what you see before you right now. The screen that is before you is a product of thought that stirred into existence specific emotions that determine very precise actions that would inevitably unfold from those thoughts, those ideas. And the chain of creation works in that fashion at all times. Thought stirs into existence, emotion. And each and every one of you must come to an understanding that you have responsibility, and you must assume responsibility over what you will allow your mind to think and what you will choose to accept as thought. That you have the intelligence and the awareness to evaluate the qualitative nature of a thought, that you can hold it in your consciousness before you say, I accept that. You can hold a thought in your consciousness before you accept it and say, is this going to produce a function of emotion that will be of beneficence to myself and others? You have that capability, each and every living soul, with the exception of the little ones. With the exception of the little ones who are yet to gain a functional understanding of thought in this dimension. They depend almost exclusively on the thoughts that you would offer them, and they would accept them as true because they have no consciousness developed sufficiently enough in form to make the distinction between that which is good and that which is not so good. The process of experience after a period of time will yield an awareness for any individual to come eventually to that place where they can evaluate thought independent of the influences of other mechanisms around them. But the little ones, to a point, are wholly dependent upon what thoughts you would give to them. And they would accept what you would give them as truth, even if it is false. And so if you hold something in your mind that is false, and you believe that, then you will give that falsity to others, especially those ones. And so you must come to a place where you begin to recognize that thought is not something that is imposed upon you, but a gift for you to learn to utilize in the deliberate and intentional practice and function of creation. That very precise, clear thoughts yield very precise and inevitable outcomes, because those thoughts will stimulate into existence emotions that compel actions to unfold. You have a new leader in your world today. And this one was very single-minded in his thought. Very single-minded in his thought. And such clarity of thought stimulates great emotional energy. And this does not make this one more special than anyone in terms of capabilities, for each and every individual on this earth has the same capability to choose thought, to grasp thought, to embody thought, to stimulate action into existence from thought. The difference between this one and the vast majority of individuals on this planet is this one knows it. Whereas many of you do not understand this, that you have authority and autonomy over what you will allow to be thought in your mind or not. You have it in your authority to reject or accept thought as you will. And what you choose or choose not will stir into existence emotional qualities that become represented as the conditions of your existing life. That your life at this very moment is a product of the thought that you harbor in your consciousness. We say harbor in your consciousness because many of the thoughts that you have were given to you. Then you accepted them unwittingly, trustingly, from your so-called educational systems that do not teach you anything about the function of creation, which teach you little more than the practice of mimicry. Education is designed in its true essence to teach you your function of creation, not to parrot what others are saying, to think or believe. And until you begin this process of evaluating your own thoughts, then you'll continue to find yourself being dictated to by others, even those in the battlefields of your world, those in poverty, those in great castles. All are following the dictates of qualities of thought that have been accepted and embraced and held as a belief. And yet you are at this time of awakening now. And we are honored and privileged to be a part of that in a small measure by being able to offer this information to you that you might be able to evaluate your own circumstance and begin to effect a deliberate and creative change in your own existence. Your suffering is not designed to be perpetuated. Your suffering is designed to educate you that there are certain thoughts that do not support emotional qualities that would support life, and a better life for you indeed. If you could change your thoughts, you could consciously have a better life. But to not just change a thought, but to change and sustain a new thought. This one we spoke of earlier, sustained and maintain a single-minded focus. And there are many others on this planet doing the exact same thing now. They are coming forward now in great numbers, those creative individuals who understand the power of thought to stir into existence emotion, which compels action. All emotion compels action. All emotion compels action. And these dear ones now, what you would call the children of light, or the children of God, you may call them what you will, have understood the distinction between righteousness and evil, and now come forth. The deep sleep has occurred and the awakening is happening. And each and every one of you must evaluate in your own consciousness what thoughts you think. What is their function? What will they give rise to in your life? By nature, every single living soul on this planet is an extension of love. Every living soul on this planet, by nature, is an extension of love. It's what you are. But your mind and body are instruments that, when imbued with certain qualities of thinking and therefore emotional energy, necessitates the functions of behavior. So while each of you may be a product of love, your thoughts, your emotional energy might be very different. Which is why you can see things that do not make sense, like war does not make sense. Why would you harm another human being? Why would you choose to do this? If you all come from the source of love, why would you do this? Because you have a belief and an idea that generates and stimulates an emotion that gives you the illusion that this is okay somehow to harm others. But you are awakening now. Each and every one of you is awakening now. And you can be angry or frustrated at the changes of tide that you're seeing upon this planet, but ask yourself this question. Is what you think going to stir into existence love? Is what you think going to stir into existence fear? It is a very simple question to ask yourself in each moment before you even act. What is the thought? Because thought will give rise to emotion. Emotion will give rise to action. It is the sequence of function of creation. Thought stimulates emotion. Emotion stimulates action. You do not teach your children this. You simply dictate to them. You do not have an educational system that teaches children this. You have a system that dictates. But to teach your children, to teach yourself that thought stimulates the movement of emotion, and emotion stimulates the movement of action. This is what needs to be understood by all of you. And if it is even begun to be considered that maybe this is true, that my thought creates a movement of emotion in me, and my emotions create a movement of action through my body. And if you can begin to consider that possibility, then you might choose to stand diligently on guard in your own mind to observe what thought you shall allow to pass into your mind and body. What thought shall you give admission? That you do not like that person, you want to give admission to that thought. That is hateful. But you do not have to like that person. But why would you harbor that in your own mind? Thought stimulates emotion to existence. Emotion generates action through the body. It is that simple. We always try to keep it simple. There's so much unnecessary complexity around your psychology that you are all very confused by it. And so now you have this chance and this opportunity. Is that not good? To have this chance and opportunity now, that you may, by your own choice, lead humanity down a path of love away from the unnecessary suffering imposed upon you by the irresponsible use of thought. Path of fear, which is of no benefit to anybody until one awakens. And that is the only benefit to suffering, is that it gives you the opportunity to awaken. Each day you would wake up from your stupor of drinking, and you awaken from that, and you feel your terrible headache, and your body is not very happy. And each time you go through that suffering, you are given the opportunity to say, I will not suffer anymore. I will choose to think that is not good for me. I will not do that. You may choose to do that. And many of you will say, oh, that's too difficult. And we will say to you, no, it is not. It is far more difficult to not do that. It is easier to move away from suffering than to perpetuate it. Yes. And so we say to you, you have made a choice, individually and collectively, and you will bear witness to the effects of that choice, because it is inevitable. There is an inevitability to creation and the way in which it functions. That you have made a choice in the function of creation, individually and collectively. You do it in your own life, but you also are united in this, whether you are aware of that or not. Those that fight in the streets or drop bombs upon others or plot against one another, you are all in cahoots together in the process of creation. And you move your humanity and yourselves to either the pathway of love or the pathway of fear. There are only those two pathways to choose from in this dimension. But we would give you the benefit of our knowledge to the degree and extent that we are able to, that you might have the opportunity to be conscious of that choice, to not remain subjective to beliefs and ideas and information that may in fact not be beneficial for you. That you choose to evaluate every thought that comes to you carefully. That you invite thought in that uplifts you and inspires you, and that you close the door to that which would do you harm or others. It is easy to say, put down your weapons. But if you have not resolved the thinking process in your mind, you will not put down your weapons. If you hold on to beliefs and ideas that are crass and destructive, then you will be crass and destructive. It's very simple. Creation is not complex. There is no mystery to your divinity. God is not a mysterious being. Very comprehensible, actually. Very simple and straightforward. As you think it, so it shall be. How much simpler could your Creator have made it? And yet you would choose to adorn such ideas with religious connotations that would make you repulsed by the truth. And the truth is, as you think, so it shall be. This is not a religious consideration. It is a function of creation universally. And you do not know just how much you are loved, all of you. For if you knew how much you are loved, you would not be thinking many of the things that you're thinking. You would not be doing many of the things you are doing. And so this great awakening now, the blankets are pulled off, the curtains are raised, and you must climb out of the slumber of your consciousness. Stretch your arms out, open your mind to thoughts, ideas, and possibilities that will ennoble you in your day and ennoble your humanity. There is a love inside you that surpasses all understanding. A love that you may, when you realize it within yourself, that you may extend to others. Even without speaking the words, you may give it to others. By the mere presence of love, you may do so. But anything that would choose to harm life comes from a thought that is harmful. Anything that chooses to make life good comes from a thought that is good. How much simpler can it be than this? As you thinketh, so it is. When we came to this one this morning, we were quite delighted, as we know that there is still great suffering on your planet today, and yet great possibility exists simultaneously. Your quantum physics has understood this concept of what you call entanglement. It's also understood the concept that in that process of entanglement, infinite possibilities exist. And so the possibility of your destruction is equally existent to your possibility of a golden age. And we favor the golden age on your behalf. And we hope that you will favor a golden age for yourselves. That you would choose to carefully and deliberately monitor your own thoughts, or even the thoughts that others give you, and be very mindful to understand what is the nature and quality of this thought. And if you begin but that small step of introspection, where you begin to, this thought, when I look in the mirror, is it a good thought? This thought, I think about my country or my neighbors, is it a good thought? Thought stimulates the movement of emotion, and emotion stimulates the movement of action. It is a very simple sequence. It cannot be reduced any lower than this. This is the most fundamental pillar in creation. And there is not one among you that is incapable of watching your thought and changing your thought and releasing your thought. Every one of you is free and capable in this process of creation. And now that this movement of ascension is well underway. We encourage you to utilize the energies offered to you by what you call your sun. There is no scientist on your planet that can generate or stimulate a distribution of energy on the scope and scale that the consciousness, this entity you call your sun, is capable of doing. Be open and receptive to receiving and embracing the love, the inspiration, and the guidance that comes from this great sphere. There's consciousness there. And it is offered to you freely, as the things of this earth were offered to you freely. We shall see what you do now with this interesting turn in your consciousness. There are only two paths that humanity can choose. There's the path of love, and there's the path of fear. And each and every individual of humanity likewise faces the exact same choice. We wish you much love. Wow. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. That's quite the message, eh? Well, I gotta say, we are in a very wonderful time. I cannot say, yeah, we're gonna get some, we'll take a cruise in. Hello, hola. Buenos dias, yes, hello. Hi, Kimberly, good to see you, darling. Question from Danielle. Ra has revealed many important masters to me this summer. Lately, he is showing a gigantic pyramid above the planet and beyond. Was it always there? Yeah, it's a hierarchical structure of energy that Archangel Metatron works with extensively too. It's not just Ra. It's Archangel Metatron works that energy. Understand that the perception of consciousness by our five physical senses is relatively limited to the 5th century world. But these what you call astral structures, that's the best way I can put it in my language. Astral structures exist, yes, they do, Danielle. Thank you, God and Master Saint Germain, for last night's victory, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Yeah, remember, this is not everything that's happening. We are participating in, whether you are a Republican or a Democrat, left or right. Every single one of us on this planet, like they're saying, and again, I'm paraphrasing now, every one of us on this planet participated in everything that's happened. We are all participants in the war in Ukraine. We're all participants in what's going on in Israel. By what we think, by what we feel, by what we believe. And what they say in the simplest, as a man thinketh. What do you think about your neighbor? Why would you think that about your neighbor? So, we got to evaluate these things very carefully. Good morning. Yeah. It's been an interesting change. It's going to happen on the planet. But remember, it's not about Trump. It's not about Kamala Harris. It's about all of us collectively making a creative manifestation. And again, I'm paraphrasing what they said, that thought stimulates emotion, emotion stimulates action. And so, whether you want to believe it or not, you stimulated this change into existence. We all stimulated the war. We all stimulated. Somebody might have signed it. It does not matter who signed the bills or who sent the money or who did what. We are all participants collectively. And they're telling me right now, you cannot escape that you are all participants in the process. What you can do is alter and change the nature of your thinking, that the function of love become your dominant mechanism of creation, rather than fear. Cool. That's right, it cannot be destroyed. Hi there, guys. Have I manifested Canada not growing back, or Candida not growing back in my gut after surgery, foods recovered with supplements? You have to understand, Mia, yes, you have temporarily, but let me say there's a caveat to what I just said, and that is this. You need to get into the emotion that was behind the effect of the candida. You've already made the functional changes. The functional changes physically to change your diet. You can do those things for physical health. But you also need to dig into what was the emotion that was living in the body that allowed the environment to be such that caused you to eat what you ate, drink what you drank, do what you did. Remember, emotion organizes behavior, and if your body's acting or being a certain way, it's because there's an emotion stored in the body. And we go into this in great detail. The Ascended Masters channel through me in all of our courses. And we've just started our Masterclass 101. I would highly recommend you come to our Masterclass 102 Liberation and sign up for that course, because it will teach you how to go in, identify, recognize, and release from your body old emotions that you might be holding and that cause you to do things you're not knowing. Why did I do that again, you say sometimes. I knew I shouldn't do that. You do things because of the emotional energy stored in your system behind it. So again, I'm paraphrasing what they said. But in our Masterclass 102, you will get such a deep understanding and a deep relief from those old emotions that your life will go in a whole new direction than you ever imagined possible. Wonderful. Did the resonance of the planet lift after Trump won? Yes, absolutely. Because it's not just Trump. It's all of humanity even those people that are suffering want to. I mean, the whole woke movement, right? About men are women and women are men. This whole movement, this confusion, even those people that live in confusion have this deep desire to be happy and prosperous and free. Everybody does. They tell me this all the time. Everybody has the same desire to be happy and fulfilled. But if you do not have the right ideas and understandings from how to achieve it, there will be some confusion. But yes, every one of you participated in this elevation with the assistance of what you would call divine energy, the energy from this consciousness you call the sun, which receives its energy and consciousness from one that you call the galactic central sun. Consciousness flows in a very precise and specific ways. Energy flows from a higher potential to a lower. It is always the case. Wow, great question though. I love to know the name of my personal spiritual guides and if they have a special message for me. You have a being that works with you by the name of Taminga. There's a being that works with you by the name of Taminga. I'll pronounce it, I'm pronouncing it phonetically, but it's Taminga is the way I spell it based on the way I'm hearing it, okay? But it's a she. She's from an ancient African tribal group that was around when Eden still existed. Eden was a part of the planet that was quite amazing, where the earth had two suns, and nobody wanted for anything. There were two suns, there was food growing everywhere, there was a climate was perfect everywhere on the planet for people. But Taminga, yes, the resurrection of joy, again, for you right now is what she wants you to focus on, the resurrection of joy. That's her name. Nobody else wants to come forth, but if you want to know more, book a reading with me. Go to WilliamMichaelForbes.com and book a reading with me. We can get into some really deep details around what she's got for you. Thank you. Hi. Do you see my heartburn problem healing? Please, I am drinking more water and starting to feel a little bit better. Good, thanks. So the next thing you're going to do, again, physical effects in the body have emotional causes. Unless there's a physical trauma to the body, in which case if a physical trauma happens to your body, then there was an emotion inside you that precipitated that event. Because emotions organizes matter, right? Emotions organize matter. My guardian angel taught me that 5 years ago. Emotion is the fifth state of energy. Keep that in mind. So yeah, there's the next step. You got to get into that emotional energy. Again, if you can, go sign up for Masterclass 102 Liberation and get right into the deep emotions. I'm glad you're feeling some relief. Again, when they told you to drink water the other day, they told you that because that's what the body's telling you it needs. And anytime you feel that burning sensation, just drink a little bit of water. Don't have to guzzle a bunch down. Just drink a sip, drink a sip, drink a sip. And again, I would also encourage you to take your hand and put it over where that burning sensation is and say to it, I love you. Just consciously and tell it, say, I love you. Even if I don't understand you, I love you. Again, these are things that they've taught me that they will teach you in the Masterclass series. Again, go to my website for anybody who's interested in our Masterclasses, WilliamMichaelForbes.com, and check out the courses section there. All right. You still got about three and a half weeks to sign up for Masterclass 102 Liberation. Hi. Lauren's asking, I am still trying to completely rise above these intrusive thoughts. Again, it's not about rising above the intrusive thoughts, it's about dismissing them. You can literally dismiss a thought. You can delete a thought. Your brain is the most sophisticated computer in existence. You can literally delete a thought from your mind. It's very fascinating. You can insert thoughts in your mind. You can delete thoughts. There we go. Hi. William, any message today? Love the message. Hi, Red One. Yeah, that was the message. Should my daughter take the job in New York City? Yes, she should take that job in New York City. But make sure she tell her to do it going forth without any fear. And you must release your fear around her going. You must be excited for her to give her the full boost. Question. The visitation that I got besides my bedside message from the extraterrestrials contacts. Question. The visitation that I got besides my bedside message from the, oh yes. If you want to know more about that, book a reading with me, Robert. Why do we need or benefit from this sickness? Again, if you do not, you will not learn if you do not have a contrast. You know, Abraham Hicks and many other movements, Jesus talks about too, you know, the same concept. Your suffering allows you to learn. When you get a hangover from drinking too much, you're getting the message from your body that's suffering, that's not something you should do. And everybody knows that, but you choose to do it. You have free will, right? You have free will to use and abuse your body in any way you see fit. A lot of people are unfortunately doing that. But that's going to come to a close, right? The benefit is the opportunity for change. The benefit to suffering is the opportunity to change at every moment. I shouldn't eat those chocolate bars, you tell yourself, but you keep eating them, and you're 150 pounds overweight, you're upset about it. It's not because your body's bad. Your body didn't do anything wrong. It's because you're repeating the same choice again and again. And again, people have been conditioned to make the wrong choices. Our so-called health system is a disease-based socioeconomic system. And be mindful of that, because they're giving you ideas and concepts that are not true about your body or your mind, right? Yeah. Hi. The 102 is so powerful, I highly recommend it for everyone. Yes, I do too. The resonance of the half that we're so angry has become lighter. Yes, it has. It totally has. Hi, William. I'm here. Well, hello. Good to have you here. Welcome. Should my daughter... Yep, we got that one already. Will the money I'm expecting arrive by next week? Feel that, Iris. I feel it will. I'm personally feeling that it will. Just let any fear around it go. Let any fear around it go. Just let your fear go. Any information on my right side of my back, please? I fell a week or so ago. Yes, again, for those of you that are having physical traumas are not random events. Accidents are not random events. Diseases are not random events. There's an order that brings things into our experiences. It's a function of creation. Again, I'll be paraphrasing what they said. And I'm going to add to it what they've told me in other areas. Number one is that when you have an emotion, if you hold on to that emotion asserts a creative influence in your life. And the reason you fell is because of certain emotions you have about your walking and stuff. And you can get into that a little deeper with me. Again, you can book a reading with me or take Masterclass 102 Liberation and get down and release those old emotions that are causing a lot of the stuff going on in your life that you don't like, right? A lot of people believe, I can't control what I think. I can't control how I feel. That's bullshit. 100% bullshit. I know, because I used to believe that years ago. This is just the way I feel. I used to believe that nonsense. You are a divine organism. You have authority and autonomy over your mind and body if you choose to assert that authority. But a lot of people choose not to. They're too lazy. Or just haven't been taught properly. A lot of people haven't been taught. They've been taught just to listen and obey. And because I listen and obey, I can't think for myself. So I have to just think the thoughts I'm told to think. And that's how most people are. Unfortunately, they've been conditioned by so-called education to mimic and repeat. Again, I'm paraphrasing what they said earlier. And you need to get to a place where you're consciously and deliberately choosing what you're going to let your mind think, thereby choosing what emotional energies you're going to generate and stimulate. And you can also learn to release old emotions and release old thoughts. You can release them. And I had a lot of really dark stuff going on in my life. I had some really dark things happen in my life. I didn't know how to think. I didn't know how to control my emotions. I was out of control. I was involved in drugs and alcohol and crime. It was a very difficult time. I had a lot of unresolved emotions from childhood. And it wasn't until, well, the last 5.5 years that I began to really unravel a lot of that. And I've been fortunate enough to have a really great partner who's extremely smarter than I am in so many ways. And is able to see errors in logic and reason that I was not able to. So I've been very, very blessed, you know, to be able to have these guides, these angels, these multidimensional beings come to me, and have a beautiful partner in flesh that does the same thing. Pretty remarkable. And I wish that for every one of you, that you receive the guidance, the wisdom, the knowledge, even if it's tough sometimes. That you receive the guidance, the wisdom, the knowledge that you need to let go of your limitations. Because you're a divine entity. I know it might be hard for you to believe. You might be in the depths of despair right now, but you are a divine entity underneath all that. That's not who you are. Despair is not who you are. Suffering is not who you are. Pain is not who you are. They're effects of something else. Anyway, I'm grateful and honored and privileged to be able to serve you. And again, I want to remind everybody, my patrons, that we have our patrons only live event tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's going to be called The Exquisite Restoration of Love. And I'll be channeling the energy of Master Jesus and Master Yogananda on the exquisite restoration of love. It's funny, it was yesterday afternoon that they came in and said this is what we want to do. And the Patreon live event, of course, will consist of a discussion on their understanding and perception about love, what makes it exquisite, and then a meditation on how to actually bring us into the experience of that exquisite love that is true to who you are.
Maybe more when I join.
Yeah, and if you still have time to become a member of my Patreon page and sign up, you can even use the free feature there for a free 7-day trial. But if you do sign up, the notification has been sent out to everybody. You'll probably want to go and message me through my Patreon account to let me know that you have signed up and you want to be part of tomorrow night's Patrons Only Live event. And that way I'll make certain that you get the information directly. And again, so patrons, I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow night. I'm very excited about it. I love when Jesus and Yogananda get together, the energy is just like, woo, off the chart. It's wonderful. It's really wonderful. I think I have time for 2 more questions here. Wonderful, go do that. Good for you. Wonderful. Since following you, William, I've learned so much. I'm very grateful. I'm so happy to hear that, Kathy. Kathy, thank you. You've been a really great supporter, and so have many of you. My patrons, my YouTube subscribers. You guys help inspire me every day. You really do. Your support, and it's my hope you'll take this information, apply it in your own life, and you'll share these live events with the people tell them to watch my YouTube channel. There's over 1,300 videos there to watch. You know, we'll be starting to put out more content soon as we get a few other things happening here. Let me see here. Hi William, I signed up for your 101 course. Can I skip that class and go to the 102 class? Or should I stay with the 101 course, please? Yeah, stay with the 101 course because there's a hierarchical structure. You're going to have a foundation in place by the time you get to the 102. That's going to be amazing. You'll go, I'm so glad I did this. And I cannot tell you how many people. We got a student that took our 102, our 103, 104. She came back and said, I have to take the 101. She realized something was missing. So yeah, you're best if you can take the 101. Take the 101 first. If you can't, then you can take the 102 first and come back and circle around to the 101. But I highly recommend you stay in the 101, finish the course, and then sign up for the 102. Because you'll see when you get to the 102 how the two work together. Right? Right now you're just getting the foundation for developing the body, getting the body into a certain state, getting the mind quiet and calm. You're learning how to connect to your guides and angels, how to sense energies differently. There's a whole range of things that you're going to learn in the next 2.5 weeks we have together in that course. In our master class, there's myself, I channel the Ascended Masters and other multidimensional beings. And we have 3 other mediums that work with us and a holistic nutritionist who will introduce you to a very, very high vibrational diet to elevate your physical energy to a different state of consciousness that will be more favorable to positive thinking and positive acting and positive being. So if any of you are interested in master class, go to my website, WilliamMichaelForbes.com. Let's see, we'll take one more question from Giovanni, please answer Dylan's question. Thanks. Let's see. Where's Dylan's question? Must be on YouTube. Let me see. Dylan, where's your question? It must be at the top here. Thank you for that super chat. I'm really grateful for it, Dylan. It's Kimberly. Oh, there you are, Dylan. I lost my motivation to draw art all my life, ex-professional tattoo artist, 29 years. Can I restore my artist's motivation in my traumatic brain-injured mind? Absolutely, Dylan. You totally can. You totally can. But I'm being told to tell you the art form, the type of art that you're going to generate will be very different than anything you've done in the past. That's why you're feeling blocked, not because there's something wrong with you. You actually have a new form of art that's trying to come through you. And again, there's things that you need to learn to do with your mind and body to prepare them to receive the gift that you now have as this new form of art. That's what they're telling me right now. So yes, absolutely. Thank you, Janavi, for sharing that. Yeah, for those that are dealing with traumatic injuries to the body, understand your body has a limitation on what it's capable of doing for itself. But you are transcendent to the body in terms of how you can act upon it with your thought and your emotion. And we've had students that have come in with clinical depression and anxiety that in literally a couple of weeks, their episodes have diminished, if not stopped altogether, because they understand the distinction between who they are as a soul, what your mind is, what your emotions are, and what your body is, and how you as an awareness can utilize mind, emotion, and body creatively in a different fashion than what the world has taught you to. So yes, thank you for that, John Marie. I really appreciate you bringing my attention back. That question is so important. You're not your body, you're not your mind, you are a soul. Hear these words. You are not your mind, your thoughts. You are not your body, your emotions. You are a soul, a spiritual entity that has come into a physical dimension to utilize the function of mind and body in the application of creation, to produce causes and effects as a product of your own divine will. You are a soul. Remember that. Your body and your mind are instruments. And unfortunately, many of you have allowed the world to tune your instrument for you and find yourself in a confusing mind or a disturbed body because you've allowed the outside world to tune your mind and body for you. It is time you begin to tune your own mind and body so that it becomes pleasing to your ear and your eye and your heart. It is so important that you learn this. Bashar predicted if the male won the U.S. election, it would be end of U.S. and cause World War III. Gobbledygook. Anybody who is going to propagate a thought such as that is not operating from love. There are only two functions of manifestation. And I actually remember watching that presentation of Bashar, and my heart sank. Because clearly in that moment he was influenced by a vibrational consciousness that was not of love. He was not influenced by a function of love. To even consider that something could precipitate such a horrendous event for humanity is incorrect. That is not a function or a thought of love. You do understand the distinction that all thought, all words, all actions can only be a function of one of two qualities of consciousness, love or fear. It is the only either or you have to deal with in your existence, love or fear. It is the only either or that you will have to deal with, love or fear. So we understand that anybody is subjective to being misguided and misinformed. There are certainly risks entailed to the function of channeling in that one must be very mindful of the qualities of energy they will choose to indulge in. There are low vibrational entities and there are higher vibrational entities. Jesus spoke of talking to Gabriel and Elijah and God. Jesus spoke to higher vibrational beings. Moses spoke to higher vibrational beings. Yogananda spoke to higher vibrational beings. Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, they speak to higher vibrational beings. They don't speak to lower vibrational beings. And any spiritual medium, in fact any human being, you can tune into low vibrational beings and high vibrational beings. You can do that. You have the freedom to choose either or. Anyway, bless him and wish him well. Right? I see that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Benjamin, I watched that Bashar channel too. It was the only time I had mixed feelings about a part. I understand. A lot of you love Bashar, and I respect that. And a lot of what he has said and expressed is very powerful and beneficent. But to have that kind of a following, and then to put out a thought about the destruction of the world, to put that thought out. I release that with love and grace. I release that thought with love and grace. It's understandable that you felt the way you did, because it is not in vibrational resonance with love. And that is why everybody who watched that felt what they felt, because it was not in vibrational resonance with love. Someone says, good morning, William Michael Forbes. Why has it been so hard to move forward after an abusive divorce? I reframed the experience, let go of the past, grasp the good, and I'm ready to move on. Susie, sign up for Masterclass 102, please. Sign up for Masterclass 102 Liberation. Go sign up today. Your next step will manifest. You will manifest it because you're going to have a different awareness than you currently have right now. Yes, I know you've reframed, you've done a lot of work, but now you need to release the old emotions from your physiology because people store emotions. You know, you've often heard it, even in conventional psychology, you know, people that have chronic obesity are eating their emotions. They're storing them more and more and more, right? Not because there's anything wrong with them, they just don't know where to put the emotion. They don't know how to deal with them. They don't teach anybody in school today how to change emotion from one state to another. You need to learn how to change emotional energy from one state to another. The Ascended Masters teach you how to do that through me. They will. They've been doing that for the last 5.5 years live here with all of you. For those that have been with us for a while or just joining us or been with us for a few weeks or a few months, you know that this information flows freely through to you right now. In the master classes, you will get a deep, intimate, powerful experience with the Ascended Masters and their wisdom, their knowledge, and their vibration. Like stepping out from the shade of a tree into the sunlight, you will be basked in a different energy. It's that simple. It's the only way I can put it in terms that you might understand it. Of course, if you're afraid of the sun, if you've been conditioned to believe you should be afraid of the sun, then that's another story. But I can assure you, the love of the Ascended Masters is a real thing. The love of God is a real thing. The love of Christ is a real thing. The love of Buddha is a real thing. The love of Yogananda is a real thing. Love is real, and so is fear. But nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Yeah, I know he talks about parallel realities too, and timelines and multiple timelines. But which one do you want to be concerned with? I think you want to be concerned with the one you're in consciously of. The one you're most conscious of right now is the one you want to choose to work on. Choose to be in the one you're most conscious of right now. Right. Thank you, William Michael Forbes. I love your perspectives and that you channel the Ascended Masters. Ascended Awareness, thank you so much. You're very welcome, Susie. Thank you for coming and joining us. Yes, Drusilla's in Patreon. Again, Susie, go to my website, williammichaelforbes.com, sign up for Masterclass 102 Liberation, and you'll be able to move on to the next step more easily than you ever imagined you could. Because once you change your emotional energy, you'll change your function of behavior. Right? Again, I'll be paraphrasing a lot of what they say here. And basically, that's what I'm doing. I paraphrase a lot of what they say in the live events, live classes. Anyway, I love you all. You're really amazing. You're very welcome. Yeah, wonderful. Someone says, God, I'm going through a lot of overwhelm and negativity. Okay, for you that's going through all that overwhelm and negativity, what I want you to do is sit up straight. Like literally put your body completely up straight, get your spine straight, and pull your shoulders back ever so slightly. Take a slow, deep breath in, fill your lungs completely. Because by having you do this, by telling you to straighten your body up, pull your shoulders back, taking a deep breath, you're now taking authority over your body, okay? And you're taking authority over it. So you breathe in deeply, fill your lungs completely, hold the breath for a few seconds. And you hold the breath for a few seconds because you want to heighten that sense of authority over the body in a gentle way. And then exhale. And as you exhale, let your body relax. And then as you let your body relax, I want you to sense and feel the overwhelming sensations you have. I want you to feel them. I want you to become aware of them. And as you become aware of them, I want you to think these thoughts into those overwhelming feelings. I want you to think these thoughts into that overwhelming feeling. And these are the thoughts now. I will not ignore you. I'm willing to love you, even if I do not understand you. And repeat that several times. I will not ignore you. I'm willing to love you, even if I do not understand you. And repeat that several times. And before we go, after you've done that a few times, share in the comment section what changed for you as you did that and gave those thoughts to those emotions. Okay? Please do that. And we're going to hang here until you do that. Yeah, I know, Andrea, I understand. You're a beautiful soul. You're going to come out of that. Hi. Hi. Know them by what they do. That's correct. Hi. Transmute the pain to strength is important. So needed in these times. Yes. So you can literally change. Emotion cannot be created nor destroyed. Sherry's just saying, I want to repeat, Sherry's saying, transmute the pain to strength is so important, so needed in these times. Emotional energy, your emotions can't be created or destroyed, they can only be changed from one state to another. Please remember that when you're feeling a certain emotion, that you can change that emotion from the state it's in into a new state. And again, let's see if that person's gotten back to us yet. When will I find work and where if you feel drawn? Hello, Sammy. The first thing, the reason you're not finding work is you're not feeling open to it. Because you've got a fear that you're not going to find what you want. Because you're tired of working in jobs you're not happy working in. I get it. I can feel that. So what you really need to do is become open to what you really want to do. You need to open your energy, like pull your arms up and say, I'm open to what I really need to do. What I really need to do. Get into that feeling. I'm open to what I really need to do, okay? And just stay with that energy for a little bit. And you'll start to experience a change. I'm just waiting for that beautiful soul. Let's see where it is. Alright. I'm going to wait for that response. Joy. It's Joy. Okay, Joy. I'm just going to wait for Joy here to say how she experienced that. Oh, thank you for that. What is that beautiful flower creature thing? Joy saying, I feel so much better and relieved. It's beautiful. God bless you for caring for us. I love you too. I love you too, guys. So that's Joy, was feeling all that overwhelmed. You see, most people try to run from their emotions when their emotions are mostly, if you're feeling angry, pain, guilt, shame, sadness, hurt, those are aspects of your own being that need you to love them. And you will learn how to do all of that in our Masterclass 102 Liberation. You'll learn how to literally love yourself to happiness. Like, imagine that. Gosh, you can love yourself into happiness. What a novel idea, right? Anyway, thank you everybody for coming out today. God bless everyone on this world, because we made a huge step in a direction. Remember, we can only go forth in love or fear. There's no middle ground here, folks. Anyway, I wish you all much, much love. Thank you for supporting the channel. Patrons, I'll see you tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Students of Masterclass 101, I will see you in a few hours for our second session. I'm very excited about it. Much love, everybody. Bye for now, and I will see you on Friday's edition of Shortcuts for Your Soul. Bye-bye.